Who's ready for another song?
Let's go ahead and stand up and we're going to sing God You Are. Amen.
This kind of nondescript box that's back there. In fact, I know for quite a few Sundays I came, I think it probably was mentioned in the service that it was back there, but I did not even realize it was around, for several weeks after I had first started coming. But it does have a function, and its function is to gather prayer requests that we have. And we put those prayer requests in there, assuming that they will be cared for, prayed for, and that all in all, the divine wholeness will be a blessing upon them. And we will send them to Unity for continued prayer for a month periodically.
Thank you. Now it is time for our daily word. And today's daily word is comfort, because spiritual understanding expresses as healing for myself and others. There is no obvious consistency in the healings of Jesus that are described in the four Gospels. Some involve the laying out of hands, while at other times the healing is achieved at a distance. All Gospels report a variety of healings taking place, yet none explains just how Jesus did his work. The Gospel of Luke shares that Jesus speaks to them about the kingdom of God. Jesus knew that healing could occur with a change in consciousness. Whatever the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms, faith in new and unlimited possibilities allow a healing to happen. By focusing on the kingdom of new consciousness to which Jesus calls us, spiritual understanding can and will express as healing. He welcomed them and spoke to them about the kingdom of God and healed those who needed to be cured. Luke 9:11. Let us take a moment to remember and affirm the words that Jesus taught the apostles when they asked him how to pray. Let's take a moment in the silence, and together we say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Now, Reverend Carol will come up for the meditation and the lesson.
So let's move even deeper into that place. Just taking some deep breaths. I am inspired. Allow that breath to flow through you. And when it has completed its journey, allow it to flow out. Expired. Expiration. Breathing in our awareness of who we are. We are inspired. Breathing out, letting go of old ideas, those that have reached their expiration date. Just letting them go. Saying thank you. Thank you, you have served me well. And I bless you. And as I continue to breathe in, a continuous flow of divine awareness. Relaxing those barriers that my ego likes to erect from time to time. Just letting those barriers let go. Just letting them go. We are grateful for our ego. It's what gets us through our daily existence. But we support that awareness of our ego personality with that knowingness that we are divine. And the ego is not out here by itself. We have all access to that which we are. Breathe in the awareness. This is who and what I am. to embody that divine essence. I'm willing for this divine spirit to be the truth of my physical being. I gently let go of that which no longer serves me physically. I let go of old beliefs about what my body is and what it can do. I'm willing to embrace the teachings of Jesus, to know that it is within me. I am whole. And let us take that idea of wholeness and move our thoughts into that deep place. And as they move into that place of oneness, of awareness, I let my thoughts quiet. Relax. Let go. I breathe in to the silence. I breathe in to my divinity in the silence. Bring yourself gently, gently to the edge of the silence. Opening your heart, opening your mind, allowing that which may be of concern to you, whether it's personal, whether it's for someone you love, whether it's for our globe. Just allow. Spirit, this is where I am in this awareness. I offer it to you. I know Divine Mind has all the information that may be mine to make use of, and I accept it. I know that Divine Love permeates all that is. And in the places where I may have some anger, I allow Divine Love to permeate me. I allow Divine Love to embrace whatever that negative thought is. Breathing in love. I feel the love within me. I feel the power of this love as I allow these concerns to move up and away and out, supported by Divine Love, by Divine Intelligence. And I take some more deep breaths, and I breathe into my experience of love, my experience of joy, my experience of peace, then and now. Spirit, we are so grateful that each one of us has the opportunity to make that connection. And we say thank you, and so it is. Amen.
So it is. Amen.
And in this moment, let us also reach out to, as you could look around and say, there's a lot of faces that are missing here. And some of them are out just traveling the world, just having an amazing time. And others are being a little bit more quiet because there are maybe some physical issues that are going on with them. And so we embrace them and hold them in that power and light. So today, life is a game. Now, how many of you believe that? How many of you believe that life is a game?
Okay.
All right, I see one or two hands going up, not too many on there. Well, I have it on really good authority of an old Unity author, or an author of Unity from way back in the day, Florence Scovel Shinn, who wrote The Game of Life and How to Play It. You know, and so it's summertime. You know, it's summertime. Isn't this a time of games? How many of you get out there and play games or sit and watch games happening? You know, and what would happen if we began to take life as a game, as we begin to see it as a game? If we quit taking it so seriously, you know, could things move a little easier? Could I be willing to maybe step out of my comfort level a little bit? You know, just embrace, at least for this moment, for these few moments here, you've kind of committed to sit here and be in this space. So, okay, let me be here in this. I'm playing a game. I'm playing a game. So here's a poem by Mary Oliver that may give a little insight, because one of the things of the playing this game, and we take it too seriously, because we think that this is all there is. You know, and if I don't take it seriously, I'm going to screw it up, and I'm going to mess up, and I'm not ever going to have another chance. So the title of this is The First Time Percy Came Back. The first time Percy came back, he was not sailing on a cloud. He was loping along the sand as though he had come a great wave. "Percy!" I cried out, and reached to him, those white curls. But he was unreachable. As music is present, yet you can't touch it. "Yes, it's all different," he said. "You're going to be very surprised." But I wasn't thinking of that. I only wanted to hold him. "Listen," he said, "I miss that too. And now you'll be telling stories of my coming back. And they won't be false. And they won't be true, but they'll be real." And then, as he used to, he said, "Let's go." And we walked down the beach together. I just love that. I love that. And if you've been blessed, as I have many times, for people sharing with me their experiences with people who have showed up from time to time and place to place in their life. You know, you say, no, this isn't all there is. You know, I got thinking about my son-in-law plays e-games. And, you know, I don't pay a lot of attention to it because, you know, they're pretty violent. But I really got thinking about it actually this morning as I was thinking about this. And I thought, you know, the game that he plays the most, there's never really a winner. He's always moving from one level to another. You know, and when he gets to the fourth level, I don't know if he's ever gotten there to the fourth level, you know, and then it's game over. But, you know, he can just start the game to begin with. And sometimes I know he gets to some level and he really does something that seems, you know, stupid or inappropriate within the game. And he just goes back to level one, has to do it all over again. And he has all that experience, you know, been there, done that. You know, even though, you know, this is one of those fairly expensive games, so the experiences aren't exactly the same thing. But you know, when we get talking about our experiences, very few of us have experiences that are totally unique. You know, the human condition embraces much similarity of experience. And as we begin to look at it differently, so here's something that Shin said: nothing stands between people and their highest ideals and every desire of the heart but doubt and fear. Now think about it. You know, we're usually not in a place of fear when we're playing a game. My son-in-law is certainly not in a place of fear. He's just getting in there and just doing what needs to be done. She goes on, when you can wish without worry, every desire will be fulfilled. And this verse from Matthew, why are you fearful, O you of little faith? So where does our fear come from? And she says, fear is inverted faith. It is faith in evil instead of good. Now part of that, you know, is sitting down and really thinking about, what do I believe? I believe when I get on the road, it's a dangerous place. I believe when this time of year comes around, I'm going to get allergies. I believe, you know, and this is kind of going back to Dean's talk about, we make up these rules for ourselves. And these rules are what we believe. So you have to pay attention. What am I really believing in this process? The object of the game of life, she says, is to see clearly one's good and obliterate all mental pictures of evil. And here's what is really interesting for us to know, that we all have, she calls it a faithful and infallible recorder at our side, actually it's inside, all the time. This recorder is going on 100% of the time, and we call it the subconscious. It hears and files away everything. Everything, folks. People say, oh, I was just kidding. Oh, no, their subconscious just takes it all in, and it hears all of those words, and you know, it's pretty good at filing too. And okay, this set of words gets used a lot, so I'm going to put them right up there, so when the time comes, I'm going to put them in there. So what are the words we use a lot that our subconscious is bringing in? Is it words of fear, or is it words of peace, or joy, or love, worry? So think about your words. What are the words? And I'm not going to tell you what the words are, but I have realized when I'm playing cards, I don't think anybody here, Jackie has, but maybe I was on my minister behavior when we were playing cards. Here's a phrase that I use, and all of a sudden it dawned on me this morning, going, quit saying that, quit saying that. You know, a lot of times the things that we say that are funny, you know, maybe a little aggravation or whatever, they're really pretty negative. No, don't do that, don't do that. So you want to think about, what are the words that I use the most? So I got thinking about this game of Monopoly. Anybody play Monopoly, or I used to call it Monotony? You play Monotony, and I've always hated it. I've never been able to get through it, but I think it was one of the grandkids wanted to play Monopoly, and I said, okay, I just want this game to be over with. I don't want it to go on and on. I'm just going to play it like it's a game. Guess what? And every time I had enough money, I bought a piece of property, or, you know, or I bought a building, or I did this, and you know, and the game went along, and I was really enjoying myself. And guess what? I won. I played it as if it was a game, not something that was life-changing, and I had to strategize. I won that process. Now, here's another thing. Have you noticed, a lot of people when they're playing games, they take it so seriously. I have friends who say, no, when I play cards, it is the real deal. Well, count me out. I am not going to play cards with anybody who takes it that seriously. Now, you know, this is not to say whether it's good or bad, but I will make a prediction that if you are a person who sees winning and losing in a game as something that's incredibly important to you, that's how you're going to experience your life. You know? Usually how we play is a very clear reflection of how we operate in our world. So I just want you to think about that just a little bit. So I already mentioned last week, Dean talked about making personal rules that can be a block. But we can also make personal rules that can open things up. And again, Beth and Wayne and I, we like to play rummy, and we play by Winston's rules. So my nephew, back in the day, was getting so frustrated that he couldn't get his 30 points the way the rules tell you you have to do it. So he came up with a way that he could get 30 points.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool. So we adopted that. We like that. And so I wrote about this stuff in the newsletter, and so I always forwarded it to my friends who live in Raleigh. And Linda read it, and she's one of 4 kids, and she said, that just took me back, because she said, with 4 kids, every game we played, we had all kinds of weird and wild rules that we made up with all these different games, made the game more fun. We can do that. We can make up our own rules. And so Wednesday night we got talking about receiving. Well, a lot of times receiving, and I gave it as homework. It'll be interesting to see what happens next Wednesday night. But I want you to think about how you feel when you give something, and how do you feel when you receive something. And let me tell you, the conversation around the table Wednesday night was, oh, I might be obligated. Oh, why are you doing this? Oh, it was a very uncomfortable process for people to be open to receiving. Well, guess what? In the game of life, this is a flow process. And if I'm giving out, you know, part of that deal is to be willing to receive in that. Now, the other part is, think about something. Somebody's giving you something, and here's all of this stuff going on in you. What does she want? What is she expecting? Oh, now I'm going to have to do something for her. And you push that back. What are you doing to that person? You know, you think about, how good do I feel when I'm maybe giving somebody a compliment? You know, it feels good. There's really good energy going on here. And if that person blocks that, oh, this old thing, oh, that wasn't much. What does that do? It just totally shuts off that flow from the person who is giving it out. And think about yourself in that place. So when you begin to realize, this is what it feels like when I'm in the process of giving, okay, the job of the receiver is to keep that flow going, to accept gracefully and know, you know, in this flow, you might do something amazing for me. You might do something, it may just be a word or two that's life-changing. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to pay you back. However, I may do exactly the same thing for somebody else. So we realize that this reciprocity when we're playing games. You know, part of the reciprocity of playing games is other people's turns. You know, and when somebody is winning in that place, you know, is to be supportive. And one of the things I've learned, it does take some of the fun out of it, but I've learned when I'm winning, I can't get above myself. Just can't do it, because the other people I'm playing with are a lot better than I am, and I may be winning right now, but I may not be, you know, so keep the gloating in here. And you know, and you think about that process and what that means and how that does it. There's another thing. One of my great-grandsons, Ryan, is on Asperger's continuum on there. And a few years ago, he was learning how to play the electronic games, and so my son-in-law Wayne his grandpa was teaching him how to do this, and was showing him, here's where you find the rules, and here's what you do, and all of this. And so they were there for quite a while, and then Ryan was getting in, and so Wayne walked away, went into another room, and I was still sitting there watching Ryan. Well, as I watched him, I realized he wasn't playing by the rules. You know, it's not that he didn't know where they were, and he'd look at them, And then he'd do something different. Or he'd do something just the opposite. Finally I said, Ryan, what are you doing? He said, well, I want to see what happens when you do it the other way. Wow. Guess what? And I just asked my daughter, I said, is Ryan keeping that process? I want to see what happens when you do it the other way. I mean, what do you learn when you follow somebody else's rules?
Nothing.
Here's the rules, you do it this way. And hasn't spirituality been that? And I won't say that we don't get our own personal experience when we're following somebody else's rules, but it can be a lot more difficult when we don't create our own flow of rules. You know, and when did that happen? When did that happen for us? When did we stop going from the little kid here who was learning and experiencing and figuring out what their body could do and what it couldn't do, and it was learning to walk, and it was learning to run, and it was learning to dance, and it was playing in the dirt, and it was looking at the bugs, and it was having all this fun, and it could paint, and, you know, splash paint on, and it could sing just because it was. When did that change? When did all of a sudden that's the wrong way? That's not the way to do it. Can we begin to go back and resurrect that inner child who knew how to play the games, who knew how to go, I can make up games. I can go sit out there in the grass and make up games. And my mom used to talk about me. They gave me a really pretty dollhouse, and I had all this doll furniture in it. And I'd take it outside, and Mom would say, there's the dollhouse with all the stuff in it, and she's sitting in the dirt doing stuff in the dirt out there. You know? Can we get back to that place of our own personal interest, our own personal imagination? So, you know, all of us here are really spiritual people who have decided to take our own path. You wouldn't be here if that wasn't a part of what you are already doing. Can we take that and move it into our everyday life? If I'm willing to take this adventure spiritually, and really the most true, important thing in my life, can I do it out here? Can I begin to understand what are the rules that really work for me? Can I do that? Now, does that mean we don't learn from other people? Of course not. You know, we learn a lot of things. There's a lot of things you can learn by watching somebody else and you go, I don't ever want to go there, you know. I don't have to do it. I can watch whoever. I can read about it. I can do that. Does it mean we don't sometimes have to learn the structure of things? Of course. So I met a pianist one time and who was playing, he was at a UCOM conference and all this wonderful music. Well, it turned out he was very classically trained musician. But he never played classical music. He played just about everything else because that's where his interest lied. So I was talking to him, well, do you feel like that education, you know, was maybe wasted? He said, of course not. He said, once I learned the theory of music, once I learned how this operated, now I can do anything I want with it. So one of the things we are in this process of learning, so one of the things learning how, that my words mean something. I might not think they mean something, but I really don't have any choice in the matter. That's the way the world operates. My words mean something. I begin to learn these structures, and then I can make the structures work for me instead of, without even knowing it, having them work against me. So the gospel according to Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. So, you know, a play is really not all that different from a game. People put on their personas. You know, we get to go watch Amy when she's on the stage, and you know, yes, Amy's persona shines through there, but she's a very different person. You know, she puts on lots of makeup and all kinds of things. Many of us have been in those. Well, we put on persona when we go to work. When you're being mom, when you're standing up here on the platform, when you're in the swimming pool. You know, we're always putting on different personas, so we begin to realize, and I have a choice. I get to choose which personas I put on. So perception and focus create reality. Perception and focus create reality. Create your experience of reality. And so we've had a really clear, so I didn't ask her permission, but Kalia's been sharing with us what happened at her house a few weeks ago when some tornadoes and straight line winds went through there and took out trees and damaged the new roof that they have on there and took out houses on either side of them. And Paul was sitting there in the house, you know, as the tornado went over, and she was sharing with us, you know, how blessed she felt that nothing seriously, yes, there's a little bit of roof damage, or maybe even a lot of roof damage, but not enough to destroy the inside of the house. The house is still quite livable. Paul was sitting there through the whole thing. He's absolutely fine. Didn't even, you know, knew something was going on, but there was nothing that was affecting him. You know, looking out there and going, you know, we wanted those trees down anyway. And Paul just said the other night, I was looking at one of their tool sheds, which looks exactly like one, you know, little barn-shaped one's red with white on it. I really wanted that to be gone. Well, they are gone. And Talia was talking about how blessed she felt.
Bless you.
How blessed she felt. Now, she's got pictures, and she's been showing them to people. You know, she could be in a totally different place of that. What do you mean? Why me? Look at all this mess. Look what happened. Oh, look what happened. We're all safe. We are in our place. We can live in our house. Our neighbors can't. I'm sorry, they can't, but we can. So shifting that whole perspective in that, can we begin to do that and look and see, you know, here's what happened and it was really bad, but I'm on the other side of it. And I learned from it, and I can embrace it, or I can stay in that place and go, oh, how terrible that is. Okay, it might have been, you know, last week, last year, 20 years ago. You know, we get to choose the rules of this game that we are playing. So, in closing, I was looking, okay, what are some really good, easy to remember rules for this game? All right, anybody aware of the 4 agreements? Probably, and I think you can't do any better than those 4 rules, which are don't take it personally. That storm was not aimed at Kalia. It wasn't aimed at those people in her neighborhood. Nobody was sinning and having that storm come to them. So don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. Don't make assumptions. You know, if somebody or something is happening and you're going, ooh, that doesn't feel, well, at least check it out. And if that person really meant to make you angry, now think about this. And I mean, really think about this. Here's a person who wants to make you angry. Why would you choose to go there?
Yeah.
Why would you choose to allow that person power over you? So, you know, check it out and then go, I'm in my power. You know, first of all, quite often we'll find out that person had no intention of making you angry. Had no idea that that's how you would receive that. Okay, now I know. But we get to make choices, so don't make assumptions. Check them out and then stand in your power. And this really fits with what Scoville Shin said, be impeccable with your words. Impeccable. Really realize there's no such thing as an idle word. There's no such thing as an idle thought. That monitor that is in there is taking in every single word you are saying, and at some point it will come out to haunt you or to bless you. You get to choose what is being stashed up there in that process. And last, always do your best. Get all of us to say, in this moment, and you know, my best might not be very good in the moment, but in the moment, I am doing absolutely the best I can. And we are here in this place, doing our best to be open to that divine spirit. And so, thank you. Thank you.
sing the next song. It's actually in the red book if you want to follow along in there. It's number 27, joyful, joyful, we adore thee. We're going to do verse 1, 3, and 4. It's in the system as such. You don't have to worry about that. You just do joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the dark of doubt away. Giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. Thou art giving and forgiving, ever blessing, ever blessed. Wellspring of the joy of living, ocean depth of happy rest. Thou art Father, Christ our brother, all who live in love are thine. Teach us how to love each other, lift us to the joy divine. Mortals join the mighty chorus, wish the morning stars began. Father love is reigning o'er us, brother love binds man to man. Ever singing march we onward, victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music leads us onward in the triumph song of life. May I have a seat? Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm La La Land. And we've got Dean, who's going to sing a special for us. Dean, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I get in my zone.
This is a song that you heard last month, but it's changed. And we already know it's going to change again. It's a living song until, it may always be a living song, but it's one that was inspired by Emmett Fox's Golden Key. And the words haven't changed so much as I'm changing the chord structure and how we're going to sing the words. I don't know, some of y'all know I'm in a band. We're meeting on Thursdays with my brother and some other friends of mine. And we're working this song up to be done a la Pink Floyd as a positive rock song.
Yeah, yes.
And so it's one of those types of songs, and I think most of my originals are. They're meant to remind me of something that I need to remember throughout my day. And this is definitely one of those songs. It's all about, well, Emmett Fox's Golden Key. Stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about truth instead. Or think about God instead. Think about source instead. Think about light. Something positive, something that helps you come to that place of stillness and forget about whatever the trouble is. Because it's really not important. It's going to pass. So, with that said, I think I'll just start singing. The difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. Whatever it is, I'm afraid